Batter up.
Rob and Chris, they're on the air. Yankees, Mets, they're everywhere. From the Bronx to Queens, the diamond gleams. MLB talk, the ultimate team. MLB is the place to be. Rob and Chris with the pitch you'll see. Swinging stats and stories fly. Baseball talk that's amplified.
And welcome to a new episode of NY MLB Talk with your hosts Rob and Chris as we cover the Mets, Yankees, and all of Major League Baseball. And if you're on YouTube right now, hit that sub button. We'd really appreciate it. And also, if you want to follow us on TikTok and on X, we're at NY MLB Talk. Rob is at R Maraska, myself at CP7NY. Rob, we got a great guest on tonight. Let's bring him on and let's get this going.
Yeah, we have former Atlanta Brave third baseman Randy Johnson on. Randy, thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it. Looking forward to talking to you about your career, about your stuff on Facebook, about not changing the game or leave the game alone, which we agree. But first, let's get into it. You came up through the Mets system, right?
I did. I was drafted in '78 by the Mets in the I think it was 11th round, and played rookie league, Double-A 2 years, and then got traded halfway through that second Double-A year to the Braves.
Yeah, and you played on some pretty good Braves teams. I mean, Joe Torre was your manager, but you guys had some great teams. You came in second couple of years that you played for the Braves, right?
No, we actually won the division in '82. We started the year 13-0,
right.
And then second place the next 2 years. And then Joe got let go, and I also got sent down the following year and never to see the big leagues again.
Yeah, I mean, you had a pretty good bat. And before we get to the Braves, with the Mets were always looking, until Hojo and Ray Knight, the Mets were always looking for third baseman. I mean, they went through so many. I mean, from Wayne Garrett on to those guys, they kept looking for third baseman. And you had a pretty good pop. In your bat. So what happened? Why do you think you only played a couple of years with the Braves, and then we know you went to Japan, but what happened with Atlanta?
It was more injury problems. I had really struggled to stay healthy my whole career, and going back to the Mets, I mean, Wally Backman and Hubie Brooks were my teammates. I didn't have a whole lot of chance of passing any of those guys up. So it was just a Double-A trade. When I got traded, it was just a need for the Braves in Double-A, and the Mets needed an outfielder in Jackson when I was there. So I never really thought I was going to play in the big leagues until I got a big break in '81 in Richmond, when I was basically thinking I was going to get sent home. Our third baseman broke his elbow. I got thrust into action, and I had really my best year ever that year, and got put on the roster the next year. But I was a utility guy, and with Bob Horner at third, there wasn't really a whole lot of playing time for me, except he had a tendency to get hurt more than I did, actually. So I got a chance to play 2 years in a row fairly regularly, and you miss Bob Horner's bat. No matter who you're going to put in there, you're going to miss Bob Horner's bat, one of the best ever. So I did a good job. I got better every year. I had a lot of adversity. What do you call it? I could play all different positions, versatility.
Yeah, versatility.
And that's huge nowadays. But back then, it was 2 or 3 extras on a team, position player wise, because the rosters were fairly limited.
Yeah, and we have someone out in the audience that wants to know, what did rehab on injuries look like when you played?
Well, I wasn't making $10 million, so it was a lot cheaper back then. In my situation, it was a little different than somebody that's established, where they knew when they came back from the injury list that they're going to be thrust right back into action. I was worried about my job pretty much every day of my career. So it was tough. I really didn't spend much time on the disabled list in the big leagues, but I had some surgeries that were done at the end of my 84 year that I don't want to get into it, but I thought the Braves doctors did a poor job, and some of the injuries I'm still dealing with today. So that I think was a big issue for me. Um, but even the years I played after that in the minor leagues and in Japan and wherever, I played hard, and I wasn't blessed with strong bones, so I was injured often, and uh, it's a hard pill to swallow when your career ends because you can't get on the field because of injuries. It wasn't the lack of talent. I know if I could have stayed healthy, I'd have played another 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, if you would have stayed healthy, definitely with your bat, uh, I think so too. Go ahead, Chris. You wanted to ask
Definitely.
something.
Between your bat and versatility, you definitely would have found a spot on someone's roster for sure. But when you first came up with Atlanta that first year, how was it coming up to the majors? Like, how was the feeling coming up, playing in these big stadiums, in front of these big crowds? How was that? And playing on the major league roster with some of the players that you were playing with. You had Dale Murphy, to name one of them, and you had Bob Horner, obviously.
Well, if you look at my numbers from the first year, I only got into I think I only got 45 at bats. So
Yeah.
I was a cheerleader. I was cheerleading most of the days that year. I got sent down for about 12 days and then brought right back up. So it was to sit there and watch us win 12 games in a row to start the season. Nobody expected that. Obviously, we didn't expect it, but I I probably was the only one on the roster that didn't play in any of those 12 games. So it's a it was fun to watch. It was exciting. Obviously, I wish I could have played and contributed more to that stretch and even more to the season. But it was incredible to watch those guys play all year and to be involved in the playoffs in my first year, uh, and to play along, to me, one of the best players of all time, all around, person wise, in Dale Murphy. It's a shame. It's a shame that the same doctors that I didn't think did a good job on me also cut on Bob's knee or Dale's knee, and he never really came around from that. And I think that really hindered his uh, career the last 4 or 5 years.
But
Was it just the
go
Braves
ahead.
doctors, or was that just how it was back then? Like, were they just not,
Well,
advanced yet?
Dr. Andrews was in Birmingham and not too far from Atlanta, and instead of sending Dale to him or me to him, they decided to do with me. It was an experimental surgery, a new surgery. With Dale, it was just basically I think a cartilage deal. So to me, it hurt both of us, but it really hurt Dale obviously a lot more, not using the best surgeon, or one of the best surgeons of all time, a couple
Right.
hours away in Birmingham.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes no sense. I mean, because he worked on Seaver, right? He was just a great doctor at the time. So, that makes no sense. But you had a lot of great teammates. I mean, Chris Chambliss, Horner, Bob Watson. You played with Bob Watson, um, Claudell Washington, Brett Butler. So you played with a lot of guys. When you first came up, how were they to you as a rookie? We hear stories about baseball back then compared to now. It's sort of different. But how did they treat you coming up?
They were fine. I mean, uh, probably Gene Garber was like the drill sergeant of our club, and he made me feel like I was a rookie. Bob Gibson, as our pitching coach, also was okay with telling me that he was better than me, and he was. He probably was a better hitter than me at 50 or whatever, however old he was when he was there. But it you know you have to pay your dues back then. I mean, I'm sure it's not the same nowadays. If I popped off, which I did occasionally, but I was put in my place by the veterans, but they treated me well. Um, obviously my head wasn't big. I was just happy to be there and every day happy to stay there. So a little different situation. I mean, Brett Butler was a little more aggressive and and a little more confident, which he needed to be, and it helped him along the way. But yeah, they did some things to put him in place. They would put him like if he popped off about how good he was, they would tell him you've only been here a couple months, Rook. The same
Yeah.
old stuff.
Go ahead, Chris.
How was it playing under Joe Torre? Like, how was he as a man? How was he as a manager?
Well, I have nobody to compare him with as a major league manager, but I can't imagine there being a better guy to play for. I mean, he was probably only 45 when he was managing us, so he probably could have still been playing.
Mm-hmm.
He was great. I mean, he wouldn't show you up in front of the other guys. He'd get in your face if he needed to. He would pull you aside and talk to you and tell you why ask you why you did this. This and that. But he was perfect. He was a perfect guy for. I wished he hadn't got fired. I tell you that much. And I wished he'd have got a job quicker than he did after he got fired. I might have had a chance of catching on as well.
Yeah, we've had your teammate, one of your teammates, Pete Falcone, on a bunch of times. He's a good friend of the show, and he talks about Torre because Torre managed him on the Mets and the Braves. So he always tells us good things about Torre. That's why I don't understand why he got that moniker Clueless Joe before he managed the Yankees. I mean, did you ever see any problems with him? I mean, I'll never get that.
No, not at all. He was a player's manager, and probably the biggest problem he had was that back then there were the most of the managers were the Dick Williams, the Earl Weavers, the guys that were not your friend. They were. It was a different breed back then in managers. But Joe was. I mean, like, especially with the age being not that much different, he was like almost like a player manager for us. And nowadays that's what works, or at least in the era when he dominated with the Yankees, that was what teams wanted then. But before it was the disciplinarian, the guy that gets in your face, the guy that argues with the umpires all the time. Obviously, the Yankees made a good decision, and why it took that long for him to get another job is beyond me.
I don't know either. I mean, Chris is a Yankee guy on the show, and he loves Torre, so I don't know why that happened either. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah. All right. You come up in that first year. Do you remember your first hit as a major leaguer?
Yeah, I think it was at Montreal against Bill Gullickson.
There you go.
I remember my first at bat more. It was a strikeout against Tom Griffin, and he actually lived in the same hometown as me for a while. And I'd run into him. I said, "Man, you don't know how bad my leg was shaking when you struck me out." And I didn't strike out much, so it was we get a good laugh out of it when I'd run into him.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's so you come up, you're in the Met system, you get traded to the Braves. Was, the short time, I know you only played a short time, but was there anyone who you had their number, any pitcher that anytime you face him, you could hit that guy?
Mark Davis
Oh.
was one, and I ran into him quite a bit after that. And he goes, "You owned me," and I said, "I like left-handers to start with, but." For some reason or another, I just saw the ball well off him, and actually, I think I hit over 600 against him in maybe 12 or 15 at bats. But also, Nolan Ryan is. I didn't have a ton of bats about it against him, but I feel privileged to be one of the few guys that never struck out against him.
Yeah, that's really
that's impressive.
Yeah.
We have another question from one of our viewers. Did you like playing in Fulton County Stadium?
Besides it being hotter than Hades, yeah. But it's all I knew. I mean, back then it was one of the multi-purpose stadiums. Back then we didn't really have groundskeepers; they were city workers. So as you can imagine, the fields are absolutely nothing close to what they are now. Even in the minor leagues, these minor league fields are 100 times better than the big league fields of my era. And especially when the Falcons started playing games, it wasn't fun to be on the infield there with chunks of dirt all around you, hoping you don't get the ball hit at you hard. Not wanting to keep this around for a while.
Yeah, that used to happen at Stadium with the Jets and Yankee Stadium with the Giants. They would just
Oh, yeah.
destroy those baseball fields. Thank God they don't do that anymore. I mean, the fields are just amazing now. Go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. I know you only played for the Braves in the National League. Were there any stadiums that stuck out for you that you really liked? Was that really impressed you a little bit more than other ones?
LA was Dodger Stadium was nice. I mean, it's basically still the same field. The surface there was outstanding because it was a baseball only stadium, and it was also nice that my parents could drive up to see me a couple hours from Escondido. Shea Stadium was neat, except for the planes going over every minute or two.
Yeah.
I mean, the fields weren't like they are now. I mean, they were neat, but Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Atlanta were all kind of the same field. Circular stadium that was converted for baseball. Nothing like today's stadiums, and even the minor league fields now are so immaculate and so beautiful. These kids don't know how lucky they are to play when they're playing.
Those stadiums were called cookie cutter stadiums.
Yeah, yes.
The Vet, right? Three Rivers, just cookie cutters, and they did all look the same. In 1984, were you involved in that brawl with the Padres?
I was there. I wasn't involved. Yeah. I was basically standing around trying not to get my face crushed. I mean, that was one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my life. And I was worried there was going to be a riot. I thought the fans were going to storm the field, and who knows what would have happened if they had. But it was silly. It was stupid that the Padres would do something like that, getting ready to go into the playoffs. I mean, we're whatever went on between Pasquale and Wiggins.
Yeah,
that didn't make sense for them to do what they did and keep doing it. And like I said, they're so lucky somebody wasn't hurt that was key to their team or whatever. I mean, it was at the end of the game, they made us all go up into the clubhouse. Whoever wasn't in the game had to go into the clubhouse. So I was fortunate not to play in that game and not really be involved in any of the scrums. And it was September, so both teams had a lot of guys. But it was I get reminded every year when it's the anniversary of the fight, and I see myself just standing there going, man, get in there and throw some punches.
Well, they threw at Perez, I think, 4 times. I think it was the 4th at bat. I
think it was his 4th at bat when they finally hit him. You're correct. Yeah, it was.
That's crazy. And even the umpire went down too. I'll never forget that. He went down. That was one of the craziest baseball brawls I've ever seen. It was just crazy. Did you hit against Dwight Gooden his rookie year? That's one of our viewers.
I don't believe I faced him, and I'm kind of glad I didn't, because he was absolutely filthy. I may have faced him maybe in spring, but I don't recollect it. If it was, it would have been one at bat. But again, I don't think so.
Okay, and yeah, he's laughing. So you get released by the Braves, and you end up going to Japan, right? How was it? How was the difference between playing in the States and going to Japan? I know they were only allowed to have two foreign players. Is that what it was? When you played. Okay. What was the difference?
After I got released, I played in Phoenix the following year for the Giants and had a good year.
Right,
and me and Rick Lancellotti, a native New Yorker, went together to Hiroshima, and it was, for me, it was frustrating because I was leading the team in hitting and sitting the bench, basically caddying for Sachio Kunigasa, who ended up breaking Lou Gehrig's record. So he started every game. I'd come in whenever he felt like coming out. If there was a tough right-hander, he'd come out early. If there was a left-hander, he'd stay pretty much the whole game. But yeah, it's a different game. Or it's probably changed quite a bit there. I haven't been over there in a while. The almost the perfect game for the Japanese at that time was a tie, and obviously here we don't have any ties. So it was sometimes I'd turn around and look at Rick in the outfield, and he'd say, "What are we doing?" You know, it's like looks like we're trying to play for a tie, and we just shake our head. But it was fun. It was a good experience. I wish I could have played more there. My second year, I got hurt again and had to come home. Blew out an ankle really badly.
But
And that was
you
that.
batted you batted 306 with 9 home runs and 38 RBIs. I mean, as a part-time player in Japan, not too shabby. 306. Yeah, you should have been in there more. It just seems like you could hit, but I know you had the injuries, but in Japan, 306, 9 home runs, 38 RBIs, part-time. Could you imagine if you played full-time there? Forget it.
No, that was the problem. I again, the first year I should have been playing every day. The second year I was, and then ended up, I think I tore a hammy first and then the ankle injury. And I think they were finally just frustrated as I was. I didn't want their doctors to operate on me. So I came home and that was the end of my playing career, except for the senior league.
How did they treat you in Japan though? That's another thing that I always wonder. How did the teammates treat you? The fans, how are you treated in Japan when you come from the States?
Extremely well. I mean, the teammates were a blast. I mean, now I think they have 4 gaijins on a team and 3 can be active. Back then it was 2, like you said, and they were great. And Hiroshima didn't have a gaijin for 1 or 2 years prior to me and Rick getting there, and we had no issues. I mean, the fans thought we were the Beatles. I mean, it's like you were a superstar and you're just a whatever, a major league or Japanese league player. But they loved baseball over there. They had a lull there for a while when soccer got real big for some reason. But now they're baseball crazy over there, and they love all their players, but they love the American players as well.
Yeah, and great players have been coming over from Japan lately. Just amazing. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Chris.
the talent level is so much better now, I think, in Japan. You're getting these guys over here. But what was the process for a player like yourself or any player that was playing in the major leagues here to go to Japan? Like, how was that process? Was it a hard process? Was it easy for you guys?
Well, towards the end of the year in Phoenix, Rick and I both had really good years, and Rick was still on the major league roster. I was not. And Jimmy Lefevre, who was our manager, talked to an agent. I'm going to draw a blank on his name, Alan Mearsand, and he had represented a few players that had been there in the past. So he asked Jimmy if he could talk to us about possibility of going to Japan, and we both said we'd talk to him, and I wasn't on a roster, so they didn't have to buy my contract. Rick was, so they had to buy his contract, so that cost them money. But I asked Jimmy what he thought I should do, and he said, you're not on the roster, no guarantees for next year. It's probably a good thing to take this money. It's guaranteed. And Rick did the same thing. He decided to forego going back because it was guaranteed money and pretty good. He got a little bit more money than me, but it had been going on for quite some time, and there were a couple agents that also had major league players, but also had quite a few Japanese guys. They had a good relationship with a few teams over in Japan, so that's how we got there.
That's how you got there. And okay, I have to ask you that because before we came on, I told you that people were out there waiting, and you said they probably think it's unit. Do you get do people think that you're Randy Johnson, big unit. Do they
Oh,
mix
can I
you
show
up?
you my can I show you my fan mail here? About
Yes.
3 out of every 10 are for the big unit.
Really?
And
That's
I got to write back and say sorry. I'm not the big unit. I'm the little unit or whatever. But yeah, it's happened pretty much my whole adult career, my whole adult life.
that's unbelievable that you get his fan mail and
I'm
you
still
write
waiting.
back.
I'm still waiting for one of his checks.
Yeah, well, that would be nice
Yes.
to get, definitely.
There you go.
But yeah, that's amazing, and that you answer it back. That's really cool. That's really great.
Well,
Now,
let me
how
tell
did,
you. Let me tell you another
Yeah.
thing. I got a Dear John letter from a girl in West Palm Beach about 35 years ago. We
wow.
both trained in West Palm Beach. He was with the Expos. I was with the Braves. And my first wife saw that letter and said, "Who's this?" I said, "I have no idea who this is." And I think we got divorced a couple years after that.
Wow. Hopefully not because of the letter.
I told the big unit that when I was in Japan scouting Ichiro or trying to scout Ichiro, and I was at a dinner with him, and he didn't think it was funny. Said he had no
I don't
idea
think
who the girl was.
Yeah, he looks like he doesn't think a lot of things are funny sometimes. But that is a great story. I love that.
How
Chris,
did you get into the scouting end of it in baseball?
I think it was after the '88 season in Japan. I was going. Well, I met Mark Grant at a. He was a teammate of mine in Phoenix in '86. I met Mark Grant when he was with the Padres down in San Diego, and Randy Smith, who was the Padres scouting director at the time, was there, and Mark introduced him to me. And what was it? 2 or 3 months later, I'm going to the winter meetings to try to get a job, and Randy was on the same flight as me. So I said, "Hey," and blah blah blah, and he finally. I don't remember if it was on the flight back. We might have been on the same flight back, but he contacted me and said, "Would you be interested in getting into scouting?" And I said, "Well, I really want to get on the field, player development." And he basically talked me into scouting because he said it was more secure than player development, blah blah blah. So that's where the relationship started with Randy Smith. So I was with him for, I don't know, probably 15 years of my non-playing career, and we're really good friends till this day.
yeah, because you were for the Padres, you were an area supervisor. For the Rockies, you were the West Coast supervisor, and then back to the Padres special assistant to the GM, the Tigers special assistant, the A's, the Padres scout, minor league field coordinator, and the Tigers of pro scout. So you've done it all. That's a great career.
Yeah, I'm so lucky. If you look at the first 60 to 70% of that career, it's right where Randy Smith was the whole time. So he grabbed a hold of me and basically took me everywhere he went until we both got let go by the Tigers in 2002. And he went to the Padres with Kevin Towers, which was supposed to be my job, but ended up he hired Randy instead of me. And then I went to the A's with Billy for 7 years, and then Randy got the farm director job and brought me back as a field coordinator with the Padres.
Yeah, not a bad career at all. I mean, that's so impressive. Okay, so I want to get this is where I found you on Facebook, where you had your page "Leave the Game Alone." That's where I found you. So I didn't think that you were the big unit or anything. I checked out your profile, so I was good. But tell us about this page. It's growing in members.
Yeah, I just for years I've been saying when our illustrious commissioner keeps making different rule changes every year, I don't understand it. I never will. Things would have evolved back to what needed to. I mean, things would have happened that needed to happen, but you don't change rules. I mean, everything to me that's stolen bases. I mean, RBIs, home runs, the ballparks are so small now. The strike zone's obviously where it needs to be, but it never was in the old days. I just think the game would have evolved, and people would have made changes in their swings and what have you to try to combat these hard throwers. Um, I just wanted to start something. I haven't really put enough time in it to make it really grow. Probably because I'm lazy. I'm retired. I have other things to do. But yeah, and that picture right there is the pride of my life right there.
That's great.
1980, 1986 spring training. It took me about 20 years to get William McCovey's autograph. So yeah, that's my favorite. Nobody believes that was me. Nobody believes that's me in the middle.
Well, it looks like you, but we have someone out there who's a good friend of our show, Dr. Jay Thomas, and he says he was a clubby at Wrigley Field when you were with the Braves. One night in '83, their clubhouse was broken into and a bunch of jerseys and hats were stolen. Several of us had to run around to stores around Wrigley to buy hats and jerseys for a bunch of Braves players. So he said that happened when you were with the Braves.
Oh, I wonder why I don't remember that, but that sounds about right.
Especially,
that's a long walk from the dugout to the clubhouse in Wrigley back then. It was upstairs. I mean, it was weird. It was the weirdest thing.
Yeah. What were some of your, I know you said the cookie cutter stadiums and anything, but like Wrigley Field, when you got to play in Wrigley Field, did you feel anything like, wow, I'm actually playing at Wrigley Field? Did you ever feel that way about stadiums?
Yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable. It was kind of a completely different atmosphere walking into that stadium. If you go behind after the years after I came and scouted and walked back behind, I said, this is a minor league field. This is what the old minor league fields were like, where you can't see the field from down where the concessions are. You walk up to the field. Just incredible. And I'm so glad it's still there. But back then, I mean, I don't know why they decided to put lights in. It was such a home field advantage to play day games because every single person, and probably a lot of married people, were out late at night in Chicago. And what better home field advantage than to have games at noon? I mean, I'm guessing if you looked at the years prior that they should have had a hell of a lot better home record than most teams, because it was such a fun city and people get a little excited, and to get up at 9 o'clock and have to play at 1, we were just getting up at 1 o'clock in the normal world, the normal baseball world. So what was hard there was the infield grass was so long. I know I didn't hit the ball in the air much. Anything I hit on the ground was swallowed up. And as an infielder, you're used to, if a ball's hit hard to your right or left, that it's going to go through. Well, I had a couple times where I actually stopped and the ball just kind of caught in the grass, and I look at it rolling by me, going, "Oh shoot, I could have got to that ball." But it was like, and then every time I hit a fly ball, the wind was blowing in. Every time I hit a good one, I never hit a ball in the air when the wind was blowing out. I put it that way.
And now they with all the buildings they built around there, they changed the wind and everything. It's not the same. Did you ever go to the Cubby Bear Bar when you were in Chicago?
I don't think there's a bar I missed in Chicago.
That's good. Go ahead, Chris. Got something.
Randy, you mentioned you were scouting Ichiro. Were you scouting him in Japan?
Yes. That year I went, it was the year of the Major League All-Star team going over there. And I was, I believe I was in Asia scouting. And then I met the group there, and it was supposed to be the year Ichiro came out. Well, I knew Bobby Cox was the manager of the team, and he let me ride in a bus with the guys and hang out with them. And turns out Ichiro didn't come out that year. He came out the following year. But anyway, I spent, I think, about a week there, or 5 or 6 days That's when I got to see Randy Johnson and ask him about the dear John letter. So yeah, then the following year he came out, and I'm not even sure who I was working for that year, if I was in between jobs or what. But yeah,
Did you think watching him there, did you think he was going to have the success that he ended up having here? Or did you, because before Ichiro, I don't think there was any Japanese player that came over here that was really that good position player, at least, that had that
you want,
kind of success.
you want me to be honest or lie?
I want you to be honest. I would love to hear it.
I thought that the major league pitchers would knock the bat out of his hands. I mean, I played over there, and the guys that hit his style, the inside out, flick the ball, use his legs. You know, he didn't hit for much power in Japan. He obviously was strong and could have hit, as we know, hit 25, 30 home runs a year. And then his first year, when he started out so poorly, I said, yep, they're just going to pound him in, pound him away, and he's going to roll over the ball the other way. And wrong. I was that's another one I missed. I did not think that he would do what he did. I mean, good for him. Hit. You miss once in a while, but me being over there and seeing those type of hitters, I just didn't think it would work over here. I did not.
What are
Now-
some of your hits? You
Yeah.
mentioned he's one of your misses. What, give us some of your hits that you definitely hit on, that you scouted.
Well, I was involved in the Padres trade with the Astros. I was a major league scout for the Padres. It scouted the National League that year, and we got, well, our owner, or not our owner, our president didn't want to make the trade because we were giving up Phil Plantier, who he thought had a lot more power than either of the guys we were getting, which was Caminiti and Finley. So
Wow.
Randy basically left the Padres the following year because of that trade. He, pushed and pushed and pushed, and I think only because Randy's dad was the president of the Astros, the trade was still available a month later. So, I never thought those guys would hit 35, 40 home runs, but I knew they would improve our team. And lo and behold, next year they're in the playoffs. So
Yeah.
Kurt Suzuki, I drafted when I was with the A's as an amateur scout. That's the guy that had the most success I've ever signed as a major leaguer or an amateur guy. I had a couple other guys get to the big leagues. Nobody like Kurt. Andy Ashby, I recommended him. I mean, we had him. Randy drafted or signed him about 3 or 4 times between Detroit and San Diego, back and forth. Brad Osmus. For the expansion draft, I had with the Rockies, I had the Yankees, the Orioles, Boston, and the Braves. So we got David Need was obviously a number 1 pick, who was a consensus number 1 who got hurt. And I recommended Vinny Castilla, Mano Reynosa, Brad Osmus, Eric Wedge, who I knew was going to be a good manager. Just kidding. So, yeah, I mean, as a scout, a lot of times things you turn in, your reports, or never come to fruition. I mean, and you're probably good if you're right 30% of the time as a scout, 30 or 40%. You're seeing amateur kids and minor league kids and major leaguers, and who knows how much they're going to grow, but it's all a guess, and you're seeing so many in such a short period of time. It's tough. I mean, to see a team play 5 days as a pro scout and say, well, you got 30 guys you got to write reports on, and we want you to be accurate on all of them. I'm going, okay, sure. You try this.
Yeah, really.
So,
So today's game, let's get into this because we always talk about this the first time we have a guest on, and since you have that page, what problems? There's a lot of problems that were caused because of COVID. All right, and towards the end of the show, Chris is gonna ask you a couple questions. But why would they keep this ghost runner? I mean, just to speed up the game. Why would you keep it? It's ridiculous. It's like Little League, Bush League.
That changed the game. I saw that in the Olympics in 80. When was it? When it was in China, and I saw it, and I go, well, "What are we doing here? This is a girls' softball rule." And then the guys informed me, said, "Well, it's a time limit here for these games, so they got to make sure it's done by a certain time." And I said, "Okay." And then fast forward 20 years, and I'm seeing it at the big leagues, and I go, "Are you kidding me? Everything's out. You could throw a perfect game and lose now, and I want somebody to do it just to prove a point." You got RBIs that aren't real. You got runs scored that aren't real. You got losses by the pitchers that aren't real. You got wins by the other team that aren't real. And then you're at a game for 3 hours for 9 innings. What's another 30 minutes or an hour or 2 hours? If they say the rule was put in because of COVID, I don't get that. And to keep it after the fact, I don't know. That's why I don't watch now. I'm sorry to say it. I don't watch baseball. I love the game. It's been my life. I don't watch it.
Yeah, well,
Bigger bases. No fake to third. No shifting, because we don't want the guys to learn how to hit. We want to make it so they get more hits when they're shitty hitters. Well, that's major leagues. That's what you want in the major leagues.
No, good, Chris. Though you love.
Listen, even with the no shifts, they're still having these guys play right up the middle. So and the hitters are hitting them right to these guys, right? Because they're positioned perfectly with all their analytic crap and all that. So I'm with you with that. Also with the one move that hasn't really had that much of an impact, I think, is the larger bases, right? They thought it was going to create all these stolen bases, but I haven't really seen that much of an increase. We were kind of talking about that the other day. I don't see that much of an increase, but the ghost runner, I don't think there's any fan out there that wants that. So I think you're speaking with everybody else on that one.
Well, I want to know how much in revenue are they losing from beer sales with the games being shorter. You know,
Definitely.
You're talking a half an hour earlier or half an hour shorter. The sales got to be way down, which, I mean, they got gambling to take care of that. The gambling money they're getting, that takes care of that money. But also not being able to play an infielder on the grass. So what the heck is that?
Yeah,
you know they can't start on the grass, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, are you kidding me?
No,
make an adjustment, hitters. You know.
Yeah.
It's just too much. How do you feel about the designated hitter in the National League?
Never liked it. Never liked it. Do you guys realize this is a stat I came up with? The year they got rid of the National League DH, OPS was down in National League. Figure that out.
Yeah, that just doesn't make any sense.
And you know what? The sad thing is, even with these, with getting rid of the shift and you can't play on the grass, hitting is still down. So they did all this to increase the offense, right? And they still can't hit. So to me, there's a bigger issue going back to, in the development of these guys too, right? I think that's being affected as well.
Well, their philosophy is, and I heard this from a good friend of mine who was a hitting coach in the big leagues, and they said, we can't string hits together because these pitchers are so good. So we want one swing and one run. I said, well, doesn't it make more sense? These guys are nastier than they've ever been. Wouldn't it make more sense to have shorter swings where you can actually put the bat on the ball, and the infields are shorter than they've ever been, faster than they've ever been. The ball's livelier than it's ever been. Infields are harder than it's ever been. The gaps are smaller than they've ever been. Strike zone's smaller than it's ever been. But we want guys swinging from their asses and striking out 160 times and hitting 30 home runs. That's not baseball. That's not fun. That's not action. It's what slays me is these younger fans. They like just a home run. I think it's because they can be on their phone BSing and they hear a pow and they look up and the ball goes out of the ballpark. Everybody gets excited. But the hit and run, the stolen bases, the manufacturing runs, that's baseball. That's real baseball.
Yeah.
Not slow pitch. I always call this slow pitch softball. That's what it is now.
Yeah, that's a good point. You're right. Baseball is not the same game that we grew up loving. It drives me crazy. Thank God after COVID, they didn't keep that 7-inning doubleheader thing going. But why? I mean, they're already there, right, during COVID. So what was the difference between playing 7 innings and 9 innings? What did it do? What did it? I don't get it. That drives me crazy.
Yeah.
And guys, there's probably quite a few no-hitters in those 7-inning games.
Yeah, that's true.
Are they no-hitters? Do they have an asterisk? They should.
That whole season should have got an asterisk, right? That 2020 season was, if there was no video footage of it, seeing the cardboard fans out there, and that was just the most craziest season ever. Like, if this happened in the early 1900s and there was no video footage of it, nobody would believe it, right? Like, so it was just an amazing season. So we usually ask this question at the end, but we're kind of getting into it now. So let's get into it. Like, if you were named the MLB commissioner and we finally get rid of Manfred and it's Randy Johnson, MLB commissioner, what changes would you make to the game? I know we just spoke about a bunch of them, but what would you do?
You got a half an hour? No, I mean, I would get rid of basically every rule they've changed. I mean, to me, the double play is if you can't reach the bag sliding, automatic double play. If you slide past the bag, automatic double play. But to now, it's college. It's like a college deal. You just slide in, don't have to worry about getting broken up. No, home plate. The rule I think was always never enforced was you had to have the ball at home plate to block home plate.
Right.
So a lot of collisions came from guys standing in the path of home plate without the ball and getting smoked. All the other rules, the base, why do you make the bases bigger? And I believe there were more stolen bases last year. Or how long has it been in play? Like 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah.
I think there were more stolen bases. I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I think the catchers are throwing out more. One or the other, they're stealing more. The catchers are throwing out more, which makes no sense. Obviously the shift. I mean, I don't know what you can do to make these teams realize that swinging and missing is not fun. Do you move the mound back? I don't know. I mean, these guys are throwing gas. It's unbelievable. I don't know how they're doing it.
Triple digits.
Yeah, but look what's happening.
I don't know how these kids are getting as big and strong as they are. I thought Dale Murphy was big. He'd be a rail in Major League Baseball today. He would be skinny. But also you see little guys miss hitting the ball and it's going out the other way. Where I play with Dale and he'd hit a ball right field. It was like a left-hander hitting a line drive to their pull side. And just watching the video of a ball coming off the bat straight up, that was not a home run in my era. And it shouldn't be. But the pitchers would be more dominant if the ball wasn't juiced. So what do you do? Oof. I just like I said, leave the game alone. I think it would evolve. I think teams would have to make adjustments. They'd have to stop teaching swing from your butt, swing up. Don't worry about strikeouts. Bunts bad. Hit and runs bad. When I was field coordinator, or no, right after I was field coordinator, most of the teams started coming and say, "Don't ever bunt anybody over." This is the minor leagues. Don't ever try to get a guy over from second to third with less than 2 outs. Don't bunt. Swing. Try to hit a home run. Try to do damage. And don't worry if you strike out. It's just an out. An out's an out.
That ruined the game.
Yeah, there used to be constructive outs, or what's the other? It's another word for it, but
outs.
Very rarely do you see somebody with a man on second and nobody out push a bunt to second, or even just hit a ground ball. Just try to put the ball in play. Same with a man on third and less than 2 outs. Stop trying to hit a home run. The infield's back. Put the bat on the ball. Get the run in. They want more than one run. They want the home runs pay, I guess.
Yeah, it looks that way.
The closest we see to that old school baseball is like Tampa, right? The Rays. They still kind of play that style, because they almost have to, right? Because they can't go out and sign, all these big superstars. So they got to get whoever they can get and just play this old school baseball. And it works, right? Every year, this team is either in the playoffs or fighting for it there. And it's a team you don't want to play, right? They're just a pain in the neck. But why doesn't these other teams say, hey, you know what? It works for them and they don't have anywhere near, the players that we have. Like, why don't we kind of mix that in with our players and we'd be a super team here? Like, what's the mentality here?
I have no idea. I mean, to take it a step further here, they were the first ones to teach throwing four-seamers up in the zone to combat the uppercut swings. And then teams in the last 8 or 10 years have followed suit. Well, I got a saying that I'll tell people all the time. I said, we're as a whole in Major League Baseball, we're teaching pitchers now to throw four-seamers up in the zone and our hitters to swing uphill. I said, that doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't you teach, if you're teaching your pitchers to throw up in the zone, why wouldn't you teach your hitters to combat that high fastball by getting on top of the ball, swinging, flattening your path? So we're creating our own problem in every organization. And you wonder why your hitters aren't hitting when you're teaching your pitchers and everybody else is to throw four-seamers up that you can't really hit with that uppercut swing unless you're perfectly on time. So
what do you think about the ABS system? Do you like that?
Do you know what the strike zone is with the ABS?
Only, yeah, it's
the whole front of the plate is not a strike. You know that.
Oh, the whole front of the plate. Yeah. Okay.
Correct. So if you hit the front corner of the either right or left corner with the ball, it's not a strike. It's got to hit that back half,
right,
where it goes to a V. So I go, whoa, it's home plate,
right?
What?
Yeah, but some parts of it look higher. I don't know. It's
well, I mean, they're supposed to do what? It's a certain percentage of your height is your top of your zone and the bottom of your zone.
Right.
I don't know.
So,
I don't think anybody's going to like it if it ever goes to an automated strike zone. I mean, you're talking good guys with good curveballs are going to be landing in the dirt and their strikes in reality.
Yeah.
What is the top of the zone? Away? Is that number they came up with? Is that the waist or is it the belly button?
Well, shouldn't it be the
top of the zone?
Shouldn't it be the letters to the to the knees of the hitters, right?
Well, that's been changed. They already dropped they already raised, I think, the bottom of the zone to the top of the kneecap from the bottom of the kneecap, which is only a couple of inches. But nobody knows. I still don't think anybody knows what the top of the zone is.
Yeah, that's what's so confusing about.
What a mess.
I mean, and that's the only thing that they get done fast, right? That you see right away. But everything. Do you like the replay at all, Randy? When they go to New York, let's go to New York and see. Do you like that, or would you just rather it be umpires, and if they made a mistake, they made a mistake. That's the game.
I think if the technology's there, I don't like timeout. I don't like timeout from the ABS or the challenge. I think. What was I going to say? I think they shouldn't have replay guys in the clubhouses or wherever they're at. I think it should be up to the people on the field. You want to challenge it? Your manager or somebody on the field wants to challenge it. You don't go back to the guy in the clubhouse and say, "Take a look at this."
Right.
Which is what they do, right? They sit there and say, "Wait."
Right.
No.
They call
do it right away.
Right,
right away with your eyes on the field.
Yeah. Make that call right away.
Then you wouldn't have had the Astros guys calling pitches with the nerds in the clubhouse.
Right.
They don't belong in there. Get out of the clubhouse. You don't belong in there. Electronics don't belong in the clubhouse or the dugout. Except until after the game.
All right, Randy, here's a good question for you. Where do you think the game is now? Where do you think it goes from here? Like, what's the next, like you're talking about, the game evolves, right? Like, where do you think, what's the next, how is this game going to evolve next, right? Are they going to go to the automatic strikes and balls probably? But where else do you see this game going?
I think that would be the next step. I want to go back, and I forgot to talk about this, is the cheat sheets. I mean, I saw that in college, 15 years ago, and I told a bunch of guys, I said, just wait, it's going to be in the big leagues before long. And I know they're supposedly, it keeps it from the coach in the dugout moving guys to where to play. But my God, if you can't remember how you're supposed to pitch a guy by your pregame scouting report, hang with him. You shouldn't be able to pull out your hat off and say, how am I supposed to pitch this guy, or how am I supposed to defense this guy? That's not baseball. That's nerd ball, or I don't know what you want to call it. It's not baseball. And it drives me nuts. They'll bring a pitcher in and he runs out with a scouting report and gives it to the guy and he puts it in his head. It's the same with the signs, the catcher deal. Nobody's reading signs. It's not that easy. You think those guys out there really know what your sequence is? And if they're looking at a home plate, pick them off. I don't get it. I don't get those changes in the game. I don't think they were necessary, and I think it's not. If somebody's stealing signs out there, next time he's up, he gets drilled, and he won't do it again. Okay, that's baseball.
Yeah, that is baseball. It's been going on forever. It's been that way forever. And I think it's just too many changes quickly. It's like just happening too fast. Leave the game alone. You're right. Just leave it alone. That's the best. That's why I joined that. That's why I joined that page. We have to definitely talk more about that on our show, Chris, and get people to join that page. This way we'll make Randy will have to, start getting into it more.
I have to start getting into it more. Yeah. Okay.
Definitely.
We're
that means I gotta watch. That means I gotta watch games, though, guys, and that's painful.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to the Padre. I'm actually going to the Padre game live tomorrow.
Oh, that's good.
Well, good for you.
Yeah, good. But anyway, this hour has flown by as usual. I always say that. I can't believe it. It's already been an hour. Chris, you have anything else you want to say?
No, Randy, just thank you. We appreciate you coming on and just talking about your journey throughout baseball and talking about the game today and the problems that are in the game right now. We appreciate that. And we appreciate this group on Facebook. If anybody's not in it yet, if you're watching, join it. If you're on Facebook, leave the game alone. Yeah. Definitely join it. And just appreciate what Randy is sharing with us. His thoughts. I mean, he's been in baseball for over 40 years now, between playing, scouting, been everywhere to Japan and back. So, but anyway, Randy, thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
We We appreciate it. Before we let you go, real quick, we have to say Monday at 3 p.m., we have former Milwaukee Brewer Jim Rushford will join us at 3 p.m. And Tuesday, me and Chris will be together at 3 p.m. for a special show just to talk baseball with me and Chris. Wednesday night, 9 p.m., clearing the bases. And Thursday night, we will be back with another guest. Thanks again, Randy. We really appreciate it. We will see everybody Monday at 3 p.m. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.